Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, today the topic of discussion is S-400. This discussion will mostly be in English. So, let us start. So, recently, due to India-Pakistan war, the S-400 missile has recently been in news. So, I thought of uh, sharing few information related to this. So as you can see that this is the, you can say, truck or the carrier where the S-400 ballistic missile is getting carried. So S-400 missile, basically 400 means the range of the missile is 400 kilometer. Now what do you mean by range? Range means the distance traveled by a missile while hitting a alien target. So that is range of the missile. So missile systems can be generally classified into two types: ballistic and cruise missile. So ballistic missile is something which um, travels close to land. If a missile is traveling close to land and hitting a particular target, then that missile is called as ballistic missile. And cruise missile is something which travels at a higher altitude, that is atmosphere. So this is one classification of missile. So generally today's topic of discussion, even though is S-400, still it is very much important that you must uh, at first know little bit about the basics of the missile. So whenever you talk about missile, any missile, so any missile in India, so my discussion would be mostly based on what India has achieved as far as missile is concerned. So the base where the missiles are made, so since the base all it starts from DRDO, and you know that the headquarter of DRDO is in New Delhi. So the missile system is generally a part of DRDO, um, Defense Research Development Organization. So you know ISRO, so DRDO, the headquarter of DRDO is in New Delhi. So you might have heard about the kind of missiles that India generally deploy in war or for any general purpose. So have you heard about the Prithvi missile, or the Akash, or the Agni, or BrahMos, or Sagarika missile? So these are the kind of missile. So basically any missile system in India will have five components. So the first component is called guidance, then second is targeting, then flight and engine and warhead. So I again repeat the components of any missile system. So generally it has five components, any missile system. So those are guidance, targeting, flight, engine and warhead. So you can see that missiles can, as I said, that missiles can be classified into ballistic and cruise missiles. Similarly, another classification of missile is based on range. For example, if a missile can travel a speed of 30 kilometer, then the range of the missile is 30. So again, if a missile can travel at a speed of 60 kilometer, it can travel a range of 60 kilometer, so the range of the missile would be 60. So when I talk about S-400 missile, so the range of the missile is 400 kilometer, and 400 kilometer is like huge. 400 kilometers, you can it is 400 kilometers is not a small distance a missile can travel to hit a target. So um, uh, you can see, so some of the ranges in the slide, from the slide you can see that the range of 9M696E is 120 kilometers. So these are the names of missiles, so you do not need to remember, but you can see. Similarly 9M6E2, the range is also 120 kilometer, and 77N6 is currently being tested, and similarly the range of 48N6DM is 250 kilometer, and 40N6 is 400 kilometer. So as far till date, the most powerful or most or any missile or a missile at the highest range, that is S-400. That is why it was in news. So from the once the S-400 was about to be employed in this area near Turkey. So you can see the Turkey country. So Turkey is a country which lies in Asia as well as Europe, just like Russia. So the countries bordering Iran Turkey are Iran, Iraq, Syria, Cyprus, Greece and Bulgaria, and Russia too. Russia is in the topmost portion. So you can see, so the S-400 missile has 4 components. As you can see in this vehicle, it has been carried, 4 components are being carried. So if the range of a particular enemy is small, then the smaller missile of 120 kilometer would be deployed. Similarly, if the range is a bit longer, then 250 would be deployed and 400 would be deployed. So see, these are the process through which the missile is generally launched. So mobile, command post, fire control, radar uh, and launcher. So launcher is equipped with 4 missile canisters up to 8 launchers in S-400 battery. So simultaneously you can see that maximum detection range of S-400 is 600 kilometer, as you can see in the screen, and the altitude is 30. Altitude means height. So it's 30 kilometer. It can travel at a highest height of 30 kilometer from ground. And can you imagine, 30 kilometer is not a small number, perpendicular distance, and the target speed is 4.8 kilometer per second. In 1 second it will travel at a speed of 4.8 kilometer, because the speed of the missiles, they have to be fast. If the speed of the missiles they are slow, then it is very much possible that the enemy could anytime attack our country and our country can get destroyed. So as you can see in this photo, the at the beginning when the missile gets launched, it looks like this. So missile can also be classified into indigenous and non-indigenous. For example, if a missile, all the components are made in India, then that missile is indigenous, and if it is some of the components are not made in India, then it is non-indigenous. For example, if we are buying a missile from Russia, for example S-400, so is it indigenous or non-indigenous? So generally it is non-indigenous. So that is little bit about this. So you have already known about ballistic and cruise missile. So ballistic missile will travel close to land, and cruise missile will travel in atmosphere. Similarly, you can see the launch pads of the missile. So these 4 components are there. Now depending on the target, you can launch the particular kind of missile. So also, missile can also be classified into, based on their place where they hit, they can be classified into various parts. For example, have you heard about surface to surface missile? So the missile that starts on land and hits the target on land itself, okay, that is surface to surface. And if a missile starts on land and hits on the air, then it is surface to air. And if a missile hits on air and starts from land, it is surface to air. Similarly, if a missile starts from a ship and hits on another ship of the enemy, then it is ship to ship. And sometimes what happens is that missile is starting on ship and hitting on air, then it is ship to air. And sometimes we put the missile in our shoulder and fire it, then it is shoulder fired missile. So based on the location also you can classify the missiles. So for example, surface to surface easy example would be Prithvi, Agni and BrahMos. These are surface to surface missile. That means they will start in the land only and hit in the land too. And surface to air will be Akash and MRSAM missile, and air to air is Astra BVR, you might have heard, and ship to ship is BrahMos, and ship to air is Barak 8. So these are few missile types. So now S-400, there is always a debate between S-400 and THAAD. So what is the difference between S-400 and THAAD? So THAAD means Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, THAAD. So it is an American anti-ballistic missile, but people compare this with S-400. S-400 is a Russian missile and THAAD is an American company. But overall, if you see that, then you will come to know that S-400 is much more superior than THAAD. So third is America's latest development missile system. Still the range of the missile is only 150 kilometer, whereas the range of third is 400 kilometer or even more. So you know, no, S-400 successor is S-500, means the future missile of S-400 is S-500, and the previous predecessor of S-400 was S-300. So you know that while developing missiles, a lot of computer work also goes. So you can see these people, they're already in working in computer. So they use the FOBS technique, fractional orbit bombardment system, and by using this technique they easily they easily make missiles. Okay, so we have already purchased the S-400 from Russia. uh, then S-400 was approved for service on first time. S-400 was approved on service on 28th April 2007. So always remember. And these missiles, they are generally developed through a program that is called IGMDP, that is Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. So through this program we generally launch and develop missiles system. So for example, Prithvi and Akash, those. So S-400, as I told, no, as you had seen that S-400, these four, there are four components there, no. So all the components are different range. So for example, if the target is 27 or 28 kilometer, you will use the 30 kilometer target. Similarly for 60 it will be 60, for 90 it will be 90, from that provided by 30K 6E. Okay, so 300 kilometer detection, highest is 400 kilometer detection range. So this is another type of missile. So missile, they generally look like this. I hope another missile, we'll talk about this missile in some another video, that is BrahMos missile. BrahMos missile was first time launched in 1998, and through IGMDP program. So 1983 IMGDP was brought about in 1983. So you can see the family. So this chart is not that important, but still these are missiles are classified. So Russia possesses the world's most powerful defense system with S-400 Triumph. So now in the world, if you see, Russia is the most powerful defense missile system, and you know that Russia is India's friend. So India has an advantage regards to missile, because it can easily purchase this kind of missiles from Russia. So S-400 missiles, so you can see the characteristics. It can destroy hostile strategic bombers, stealth fighters, missiles and drone up to 380 kilometer range. Stealth means it can go underwater and stay for a long time. Radars means, you know, no, radio detection and ranging. It can track hundreds of missiles simultaneously. 4 kinds of missiles to intercept the target, and Russia says S-400 radar lock and shoot down 5th generation stealth US F-35 jets. So it has the capacity to destroy US F-35 jets, and the cost is 5.43 billion, that is 40,000 crore, to develop one S-400 missile. So it is humongous. It is such a huge amount of money, and it has 5 squadrons of S-400 Triumph anti-aircraft anti-missile system. So these are some information. China signed a $3 billion deal for integrating 6 X-400 batteries in 2014. So I hope you understood. Also missiles, one more thing you can we will also we'll also discuss someday, is subsonic missile, what is supersonic missile, and what is BrahMos missile. Okay, so any missile that can travel with a speed of sound or less, that is subsonic missile. For example, Prithvi missile, and if it can travel at a speed less than 5 times the speed of sound and more than at speed of sound, then it is supersonic missile. Example is BrahMos missile. So that was little bit about missile system. I hope you could understand little bit. Thank you all of you.